We'll just start with introductions and give people a couple more minutes to join while we just go over some housekeeping. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Rayna Erasmus. I'm the program manager and show secretary here at the Retired Racehorse Project. And I have joining with me for the first time our new program assistant, Molly Hutchison. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Molly. I just started here in May. I grew up in the horse world and I started working in the racing industry in college, and I'm a Maryland local, so I'm super happy to be a part of RRP and looking forward to my first makeover with everyone.
Perfect. So we have our dog Dagus here.
Yes.
He's
Dagus.
sleeping.
Dagus is the program assistant's assistant.
Yes.
Go back to
So as I said, I'm Rayna. I am the show secretary and program manager. So I am the one that you have been mostly communicating with. Molly is starting to help me out a bit. So you might receive some emails from her rather than me. She is just as trustworthy as me. So please respond to her as well. And today we're doing our completing your final entry form webinar. The final entry form is the last step in getting all your paperwork done for the makeover. But before we get through walking through that form, just some brief housekeeping that I want to do with you all. First and foremost, we will be taking questions. You can post them in the comments of the live on Facebook or in the Q&A section in Zoom, however you're joining us today, but we will be answering any questions that we have not answered throughout the webinar at the end. So just because you posted your question and you haven't gotten it answered yet, please be patient. We promise we will get to you at the end. Most likely your question will be answered at some point in the webinar regardless. And we also ask for fellow participants to not answer someone else's questions in the comments on Facebook. We know you guys are trying to be helpful and we really appreciate it, but things do change slightly year to year. And we just want to stop the accidental spread of misinformation. So one big, very important reminder for you all is that tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time is the close of the horse registration deadline. So if you have not yet gone into your portal and registered your horse, that's different from submitting your application. That is different from completing the final entry form. This is actually registering your horse with us. Please go do that now. It doesn't take but a couple minutes. And if you do not have a horse registered for your entry, by 5 p.m. tomorrow night, your entry will be withdrawn. So it's very, very important that you get your horse registered. You should have gotten a text message reminder from me today and an email reminder from me on Tuesday. So you need to get that done. That is the responsibility of individual entries and team captain entries. Team members cannot register horses. So if you are part of a team, make sure to remind your team captain to register their horses. Along with that, we've noticed that we've had a couple people register their horse and then go list their horse in our classified listings. And that is absolutely okay to do. But just a reminder for you all that the classified horse listings on our website are completely different from the ASPCA Makeover Marketplace listings. If you want to list your horse in both places and get the most visibility possible, by all means, please do. But we just want to make sure you guys aren't listing your horses in the classified listings, thinking that you're participating in the ASPCA Makeover Marketplace. That is something that you will sign up to participate in on your final entry form. So we'll be going over that today. The marketplace format has changed a little bit this year. Normally we have the physical catalog in the fall issue of the magazine, but this year we will be putting the physical catalog in the winter issue of the magazine. So the issue that comes out after the makeover and recaps the makeover results. So we've decided to do this to give sellers a bit more time to promote their horse, get better pictures of their horse, and hopefully use their makeover results and pictures from the makeover competition. The horse's online listings for the marketplace will still be available before the makeover, and we will still be promoting the horses in the marketplace on social media before the makeover. We'll start doing individual social media posts for the premium listings first, and then the featured listings. This year, the standard listings will be included in a social media album, but they won't necessarily have their own Facebook post, dedicated post for that horse. So make sure to read the rule book on what tiers of the marketplace include, because they have changed a bit this year. So that is the horse registration reminder for you all and a little bit about the marketplace. Another reminder, again, all of this that I'm going over right now is included in the newsletter you should have gotten, I believe, about 2 weeks ago. But this is your reminder to make sure that your horses have a Jockey Club registered microchip. This will be due on the final entry form. You will have to give your horse's microchip number on your final entry form. So you should get that done now. You might think your horse has a microchip. You might think it's registered to the Jockey Club. You need to scan your horse, make sure you can find that microchip, and then take that number and go to the Jockey Club's microchip lookup tool and make sure it is indeed registered to your horse. If your horse does not have a microchip, you need to buy one and have that inserted and then register that through the Jockey Club. We do have them for sale on our website, and there's other places you can get them as well. But please make sure to scan your horse thoroughly before adding another microchip, because horses with multiple microchips can be a bit confusing. We do have a couple of those every year. It's not the end of the world, but it will make your life a little bit more difficult, especially with registering it with a Jockey Club. So please make sure you have all that done. There's more instructions in the last trainer newsletter, which you should have received in an email. And if you didn't, it is posted in the portal as well. So besides today, some upcoming webinars. We do have a webinar on August 22nd. It's the arrival exam and makeover horse management webinar. It's again at 7 p.m. and it is with our, sorry, I lost my spot here. It's with our consulting veterinarian, Dr. Shannon Reed, and with our communications manager, Kristen Bentley. So they will be going over the arrival exam process that every makeover horse must go through when they get to the horse park in order to be approved to compete in the competition, as well as just setting yourself up, your horse and yourself up for success throughout the week, and going a bit over finale jogs for those of you that will end up in the finale this year. So again, that is August 22nd at 7 p.m. And that will be in the trainer group and on Zoom. And the links to those are also in the most recent trainer newsletter. Let's see here. So something you might have also seen in that newsletter I keep talking about is we do have some venue changes for this year. For those of you that did not see, there is a concert going on the weekend of the makeover, and that is happening in the Rolex. So we do not have the Rolex Arena for dressage this year. Rolex will be happening, dressage will be happening in the Walnut Ring. And we've had to move a couple other disciplines around. So that is just regular dressage, Western dressage, and English dressage will be happening in the Walnut Arena. Eventing dressage will be in the Annex Arena. Competitive trail has been moved to the 3-day cross-country field, which is the field behind Barnes. It's by the round pen, behind the round pens. And Field Hunters is in the steeplechase infield. So now we can get into final entry stuff. So the final entry form, like I said before, is the last paperwork that we are asking from you all. It is your ticket to the horse park in October. If you do not complete this form, similarly to the horse registration form, you will be withdrawn. This is the end all be all. This is where you're going to reserve your stabling, enter your disciplines, sign your horse up for the marketplace, all of that jazz. It is super, super important, and you need to get it done on time. So that will open this upcoming Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, August 1st, and it'll close at 5 p.m. August 15th. Again, Eastern time. We have altered all of our deadlines to always be on a business day and always be closing at 5 p.m. because we do have business hours here and we would all like to get back home. So it used to be midnight. It is not midnight anymore. And if you are in California or anywhere else that is not on Eastern time, please keep in mind that Eastern time deadline does apply to you. So plan accordingly. So August 1st through 15th is when the final entry form will be open. Once we go through that, go through the whole form. I will talk to you guys a little bit about the refund policy for the final entry fees themselves. Registration fees, which are what you paid when you applied, are non-refundable at this point, but should you need to withdraw for any reason, we are always happy to convert your registration fees to a donation and send you a tax receipt. So without further ado, I am going to walk you guys through the final entry form. Let's see here. So in order to access the final entry form, you guys will go to the trainer portal. There's a couple different ways to access it. Easiest way I find is you hit this little My Account button at the top right corner, go to this Thoroughbred Makeover tab, and you're in the portal. So you're going to scroll down, and there will be a button that says Complete My Final Entry. So when you're ready, starting August 1st, this button will not be there for you now, but starting August 1st, you will see this, and this is going to pull up your final entry form. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do here is just make sure that this information is correct. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit and say, just like horse registrations, the final entry form is the responsibility of individual entries and team captains. Team members cannot submit the final entry form. That is the responsibility of the team captain and the team captain only. So if you're a team member, please make sure to remind your team captains. And if you're a team captain, make sure that you're doing the final entry form for your team because they're counting on you. So again, you're just going to want to make sure first name, last name, email, phone number, everything looks correct there. If it doesn't, please send me an email and we can get that corrected for you. First thing that you'll need to fill out, not need to, but if you would like to, is the trainer bio. This is where you can just tell us a little bit information about yourself and your horse. We do have the basics covered. But if you want to just talk a little bit about your journey, whether that's your riding journey, your retraining journey with your horse, any sort of fun facts, there's no guarantee that this will be announced during your ride, but it might be. So if there's anything that you would like to share that you would like to be announced during your ride, please share that here. Then we'll go on to the training history. So when you guys are looking at it, when it's your turn to fill this out, where it says tester 3 will actually have your horse's name. My horse's name is tester 3. So the first part is the training history. We do like to collect some data on the training history with your makeover horse. This really helps us. So please fill this out as accurately as you can. The first question here is, how many rides or training sessions do you estimate this horse has had to this point? And you'll have less than 30, 31 to 90, 91 to 120, or greater than 120 rides. So select whichever one you feel best represents your horse. And then the next question, similar range, but it's asking how many off-site shows, clinics, or schooling opportunities has your makeover horse had at this point? So if you answer anything other than none, it's going to ask you how many of them were overnight. So if you took your horse off property for a show, clinic, schooling opportunity, how many of them did you stay overnight for, if any? And you're going to get the same range. And then it's going to ask you if your horse experienced any significant setbacks in your training plans. So if yes, it's going to ask how much time you lost cumulatively in days. So starting at 14 days, ending in greater than 60 days, whatever would be your situation. And this could be trainer or personal reasons or a bunch of different horse-related reasons. So please, if you've experienced any setbacks in your training, it would be very helpful for us if you would indicate that here. And again, for our data purposes, we ask how much you estimate that you spend on your makeover horse per month. And this is including board, vet care, which is routine care, and emergent care, and then lessons, showing, etc. Whatever you believe, you end up roughly spending a month on your makeover horse. So I'm just going to put in some random numbers here. And we talked about the marketplace earlier. This is where you're going to indicate whether or not your horse is in the marketplace. This is not where you fill out that listing. that is done separately, but in order to have access to the marketplace listing form, you're going to need to indicate that, yes, include my horse in the marketplace here. We also have a marketplace only option. So if you're someone who, for whatever reason, you have your horse registered at this point, you're still active, but you've decided that you will not be coming to the makeover, but you'd still like to list your horse for sale in the marketplace, this is the marketplace only option. If you select that, your options, it's going to ask you your listing option and whatnot, but your options to actually enter a discipline will go away. And if you don't want to include your horse in the marketplace, you can select don't include in the marketplace. For this instance, for my individual horse here, Tester 3, I'm going to say that I want to include him in the marketplace. And here are your listing options: standard, featured, or premium. It gives you a little bit of a breakdown of what's included in each listing option, but you can also go to the rule book for a little bit more information. I'm going to say that I want a premium ad for Tester 3. And then we get to the most fun part, the discipline selection. So I know there's been some confusion, but the discipline that you selected on your application does not automatically enter you into a discipline for the makeover. That is just an indicator to our committee about what you think you are most likely to enter in at the makeover. But here is where you actually enter that discipline, and every horse can be entered in up to 2 disciplines. You don't have to enter in 2, you can just do 1 if you'd like, but you have the option to do 2, but only 2. You can't do any more than that. Our scheduling would not allow for that. And I think your horses would appreciate just 2 disciplines for the week. So go ahead and select your discipline here. So we have put on my account a non-jumping restriction, just to show you guys what that would look like. So those of you that either didn't get approved for jumping or didn't submit appropriate video for jumping, probably because you're just not a jumper, will only have the option to select a discipline that is not over fences. So I'm going to go ahead and say my first discipline is barrel racing, and my second discipline is freestyle. And here it's going to ask me to include any details about my freestyle routine. So please let us know what kind of equipment you plan on using, the general gist of your freestyle routine, so that we can get an idea for what will be in the ring. And there's some rules here about what is and isn't allowed, and you can check out the rule book for more information as well. And I'm just gonna, don't do this. Do not put NA when you fill out your form. It's really important that we have your freestyle routine information, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna put NA today. And then it's gonna ask you whether or not your horse is gonna be entered in tip championships. So please be aware that this is not going to enter you in tip championships. This is just for our own awareness, but it's very important that you let us know whether or not, and you will do your actual entries for tip through TIP's website. So I'm just going to go ahead and say yes. Again, we discussed this already earlier, but your microchip information is required on your final entry form. This is a bit different from years in the past. You had a place to enter it, but it wasn't necessarily required. This year it is required. You will not be allowed to submit the form without your horse's microchip number. So please make sure that you have your horse's Jockey Club registered microchip, not just any microchip. It has to be registered for your horse to the Jockey Club. And if you can't get a vet out in time, you can order microchip readers on Amazon for like $25, and you can do it yourself. You don't necessarily need your vet to come out and scan your horse for your microchip. If you're in a time crunch, you can absolutely do it yourself. And then we have some document upload sections. None of this needs to be uploaded at the point of final entry, but if you have it, you can. And we have the dates here. So Coggins will be within the past 12 months or 6 months, sorry. 12 months, 6 months, 6 months. It's in the rule book. But your health certificate, for those of you, I've gotten a couple emails about this. For those of you that are traveling out of state, you cannot have your health certificate done more than 30 days before you are supposed to arrive at the horse park. So don't get your health certificate done by your vet now. It's not going to do you any good. Make sure you get it done within those 30 days of your move-in date. And then for your vaccination record, the only vaccination that we require proof of is the EHV1 vaccine, and it's going to need to be administered between April 9th of 2023 or September 25th of 2023. So if your horse has already been vaccinated and it was on or after April 9th, you are all set. If not, get your horse vaccinated before September 25th. Every year we have a couple people that end up not being able to come, unfortunately, because they either didn't get their horse vaccinated in time, they got their horse vaccinated too early, too late, and yes, absolutely too late counts. So if you realize on September 26th that you did not get your horse vaccinated for EHV1, you can call us and we can see what we can do, but truly September 25th is the last day that you can get your horse vaccinated for EHV1. If you don't, and you arrive at the horse park, you will not be able to compete, and you will be put in a quarantine stall until you are able to leave. So it is very, very important that you get that done and that it is administered by a vet. The rule book will have all the different accepted forms of the EHV1 vaccine record, but please don't go and administer the vaccine yourself unless you have a vet that's willing to vouch for you for that, because it really needs to be done by a vet. We need to have actual proof of that vaccine being administered, and a receipt from somewhere like Tractor Supply will not meet our requirements. And going back to the Coggins, it is within 12 months, not 6 months. So we have covered the document form. This is not required to upload now. You will be able to upload it later, but if you have that stuff now, you can upload it. You should have your Coggins at this point, and you might have your vaccination record. Those of you out of state will not have your health cert. If you're in state, it's within 12 months. So you have a little bit more leeway. So if you live in the state of Kentucky, your horse is boarded in the state of Kentucky, you have within 12 months of the move-in date to get your health certificate done. Okay, so we move on to my team entry. So in this scenario, I have both an individual entry and a team entry with one horse each. Test is my team horse. And it's gonna, again, ask me the same training questions that we just went through. On-site, overnight, setbacks, all of that fun stuff. So I'm just going to go through that one quickly. We are not going to include this horse in the marketplace, and we are going to go to our disciplines. So if you are in a team, when you select your discipline, it is going to make you select the riders for each phase of that discipline. And you cannot have only one rider present a horse in one discipline if this is a team entry. So for dressage, I'm going to say I'm doing English dressage, and I'm going to select my team members. Dressage, you ride training level test 2, and there is a demonstration ride, and there's some information about that in the rule book as well. So make sure you select your team members. If I try to select myself, I'm going to get an error code here saying that I need to select another team member because the team horses must be presented by different team members. So I cannot split it up. Let's say if I wanted to do dressage and Ryan wanted to do competitive trail, that's not how it works. Every discipline that a team horse is entered in needs to be shared by at least 2 team members. And because I said it, I'm going to make competitive trail my second discipline. And again, it's going to ask me for which phase I want each team member to ride. It will ask me about tip champs again. Microchips, we've already gone over it. Microchips and document upload. Now we get to a new section, the stabling reservations. So before we get into it, it's super, super important for those of you that are going to be doing tip championships. Your makeover horse that is cross-entered, if you are competing that singular horse in both tip championships and the makeover, you reserve their stabling through us. If you are bringing another horse that you're competing in just tip with, you will reserve that stabling through tips entry form. You will still be stable together, but you do not want to reserve stabling for your tip horse, your tip only horse through us. This is strictly for makeover horses and non-compete horses. So horses that are coming as companions only, they're not competing in the makeover and they're not competing in tip. So first things it's going to ask you is your planned arrival date. It is important to know that stabling will not be open until Monday. I believe that is October 9th, until afternoon on Monday. So don't show up on Sunday. Don't show up at 8 a.m. on Monday. Plan to be there at noon or later on Monday the 9th. That is the earliest you will be able to move in and check in. If you're not going to be on the show grounds by 4 p.m. on Tuesday, you need to contact me as soon as possible so we can make other arrangements for you for your check-in and your arrival exam. Because the arrival exam, basic entry arrival exam ends on Tuesday. The check-in booth will be closed. It will be torn down on Tuesday evening as well. So it's very, very important that we make other arrangements for you if you are not going to be there by 4 p.m. on Tuesday. So I'm going to say that I'm going to be there on Monday. I will say for those of you that are first timers, I do recommend coming on Monday. That's going to give you and your horse the most time. Even if you come in on Monday night after check-in's closed and you just put your horse in your stall and you come back early Tuesday morning, that's going to give you time to get your arrival exam done, your check-in done, and you can take advantage of ticketed schooling on Tuesday. And ticketed schooling will happen on Tuesday and Tuesday only. So please be aware of that. Then you're going to select how many horse stalls. Horse stalls and tack stalls, we count differently, so please don't lump them into one. If you will be stabling at the horse park. If you won't be, you can put 0 for ship in only. There is a $60 trailer in fee, but horse stalls are $225 each. And I'm going to put that I am bringing 3 horses to show you guys how the non-compete works. And if you are doing a tack stall, only one of you needs to reserve it. So if you're sharing your tack stall with somebody, make sure you dedicate the person who is putting that on their final entry form. You don't both need to indicate that, or you will both end up paying for it, and there will be 2 tack stalls instead of 1. So if you are sharing that tack stall with anybody, put their name here, and we will make sure that you guys are stable together. Similarly, we have the stabling request. This is not where you can request to be in your favorite barn. We do not take requests to be in certain barns. This is to be with a group. Specifically, it should be the group that you are hauling into the horse park with. We know some of you guys want to be social, and we will try to accommodate social groups, but it is very hard for us to accommodate super large stabling groups. So if you can, please limit it to the people that you are hauling to the horse park with and sharing tack stalls with. Super important that your stabling request is one group name. So rather than putting the name of every single person you want to share your stabling group with, pick a name, whether that's like Team RRP, and every single person that wants to be in your stabling group, when they submit their final entry form, they need to put Team RRP in their stabling request as well in order to be in your group. So pick one name that all of you are going to use for your stabling group, and we will try to accommodate it as best as we can. Get to the non-compete horse section. So if you are bringing a non-compete horse, again, this is not a horse that's competing in tip. This is going to be truly a companion horse. It might be a marketplace only horse if you've decided that you don't want to compete your horse, but you still want to list them and you're still coming. That's definitely allowed. So you would want to put the horse's name. My horse's name is Bourbon, so I'm going to put his name here. And he is a gelding. And non-compete horses, there's a $50 non-compete fee, and they are held to all the same health documentation standards as our makeover horses. So you're going to need that Coggins within 12 months. You're going to need that health certificate within 30 days for out-of-staters, within 12 months for Kentucky residents, and the EHV1 vaccine through the same timeline that we talked about. So now we have calculated our final entry fees here. Our awesome web developer, Jen, has made it super easy for you guys to see exactly why you're reaching the total that you're reaching. So it'll let you know how many of each of these items you have, what they cost per item, and the total and your grand total here. So as you can see, there's that $50 fee being assessed for a non-compete horse. I'm not being assessed a ship-in fee because I am stabling. I've got 3 horse stalls and a tack stall. I've got 2 first disciplines, 2 second disciplines, and I have a marketplace listing as well. So once you're sure that everything in your final entry is complete and correct, you can hit the submit final entry button. It will load. And it should take you right to checkout. There they are. I'm not gonna do that right now. But I'm gonna show you how to edit your final entry once you have submitted it. Be sure to pay for your final entry fees as soon as you can. Payment is also going to be due at 5 p.m. on August 15th. So please submit your final entry form when you're ready to pay. Don't be like me. But we are just testing here. So you can edit your final entry form once you've submitted it, but only certain sections. So like I can add my trainer bio here. I can decide to upgrade, but as you can see, it's not letting me downgrade my listing selection. But if I decided I wanted my horse to be in the marketplace and I originally selected a standard listing, I can upgrade to premium. And if I said I didn't want to include a horse in the marketplace, I can now decide to include them in a marketplace or make them marketplace only. I cannot change my disciplines, but what you can do, like for teams here, if I was in dressage, I can change which test I wanted to do, and I can change around, well, I only have 2 team members, but I can change around who's riding which part. And if you select a jumping discipline, you will be able to change the height of your fences. There is a timeline in which that is allowed, but those are the only changes you can make. And you can add some stalls as well. You cannot subtract stalls. If you need to do anything that involves removing something from your final entry form, you're going to have to email me, and I'm happy to help you out with that. But you won't be able to change your discipline, but you can, you can change your height selection, and you can change your test selection for disciplines that would require that. So let's see here. We've gone through the form, and I have showing my screen now. So the final entry fees are refundable on a schedule. Any refund requests must be made in writing to me. So you must email me, secretary@vrrp.org. These requests must be made in writing again by 5 p.m. on the business day that they are due on. So if you decide you need to withdraw before September 8th, you can get a 100% refund on your final entry fees if you email me before 5 p.m. on September 8th. Or before September 8th. You will need to go in the portal and withdraw your entry first. I'm happy to help you out with that, but you need to withdraw your entry and then email me to request that refund. Final entry fees are refundable minus a $75 processing fee per horse if after September 8th and before we post stall assignments and ride times. So again, must be made in writing to me. And there will be a $75 processing fee associated, taken off your refund per horse if you make that request in writing after September 8th. As soon as ride times and stabling assignments are posted, which is roughly 10 days before the start of competition, those fees are non-refundable. There's no refunds will be assessed after ride times and stabling have been posted. There's a lot of work that goes into the stabling assignments and a lot of work that goes into creating ride times for 10 different disciplines for up to 3 horses per person. And once all that hard work is done, we will not be issuing refunds for those things. Again, more than happy to convert your entry fees to a donation and send you a tax receipt. We know things happen. Marketplace fees, may be refunded if the horse is withdrawn from the marketplace prior to August 15th. So that's different from that September 8th deadline. If you decide to withdraw, or you just simply decide you don't want to sell your horse in the marketplace, you're going to need to do so by August 15th. After that, any marketplace fee listings are non-refundable. And like I said before, no refunds will be considered after ride times and stall assignments have been posted. And I believe that covers everything. So if we have any questions, I am happy to take them now. Just whenever you're ready.
Kathy would like to know if refunds are available, if she would like to withdraw now for her trainer entry fees and her horse registration fees.
No. Horse registration fees and application fees fall under the registration fee umbrella, and those are non-refundable once an application has been accepted. So at this point, applications have been accepted. They are non-refundable, but we are again happy to issue you a tax receipt. The only things that are refundable are the final entry fees, which have not been paid yet.
All right, and Audra would like to know, let's see, confirming ship-in dates. If she would plan on arriving Saturday evening, she is unable to stall at the horse park until Monday.
Correct. If you are planning on arriving before Monday at noon, I would suggest finding a layover farm. There are plenty in Lexington that would be happy to take you in. And if you post in the trainers group, you will have a list of recommendations for layover farms in minutes. And that will be a great chance for your horse to stretch their legs, but we will not be at the horse park on Saturday. And stalls will not be available for move-in until noon on Monday.
Okay, we have one more. All right. Holly would like to know if she has a friend who's getting a tax stall. She understands that they will be the one paying for it and they will be the one adding it to their registration. But is she the only one that has to enter a name for it, or would she also enter her name for a tax stall, just not pay for it?
I don't believe it will give you the option to add a name for a tax stall if you don't add one to your entries. So no, if it does, if you have the option to put a name, you can absolutely put the name of the person that has reserved the stall. But if you don't have that field without making the tax stall number 1 or higher, then you don't need to do it.
And if you have any confusion with that when you are actively registering, feel free to shoot us an email. Okay. Someone would like to know where we would recommend ordering shavings from.
Devers at the horse park will have them on site. If you would like to do it through Devers, you can. There's also a Tractor Supply not that far away if you want to pick them up yourself. But Devers will have shavings, stall mats, hay, grain, buckets, this kind of stuff. We will also go over much closer to the event. We'll have another webinar in September, about 20 or so days out from the makeover, and we'll answer all those kind of nitty-gritty questions as well. But Deaver would be my recommendation.
I see Jen answered your question, Haley. How big are the stalls? The horse park states that their stalls are 10 by 10. Let's see what else we have. Audra would like to know if we can rent round pens as well.
That is not done through us. That is done through Deaver and the horse park, and those are likely sold out. Those rentals book up far in advance before we even book our dates with the horse park. So you can post in the trainers group and see if anyone managed to snag a reservation and would be willing to share it with you. But unfortunately, we are not in charge of round pen reservations, and those tend to book up very far in advance. But I would, again, absolutely recommend, if you can, getting a layover facility. You can board your horse at the horse park still and maybe take your horse over there to stretch his legs, whatever works out for you. But that seems to work out very well for our participants, is some sort of combination of a layover facility and staying at the horse park.
Okay, Linda would like to know, as a team entry with 2 trainers doing 2 disciplines, can one rider ride in both disciplines as long as the other trainer is involved unmounted, i.e. for a freestyle?
Yes, it's going to still ask you who's involved in it, but they need to direct the horse in some shape or form. So in the first discipline that is not freestyle, you're both going to need to present that horse in that discipline. In the second discipline that is freestyle, both of you need to direct the horse in some shape or form. It's okay if not both of you ride the horse, but your second team member must obviously direct the horse to do something on their own, likely with the horse, no one on the horse, if that makes sense.
Okay. Courtney would like to know if golf carts will still be available to go through the campground and the horse park during the concert day.
I have not a clue. I'm gonna be honest with you on that one. I am happy to ask the horse park and figure that one out for you. But we will look into that and we'll probably talk about that in our September webinar.
Okay. And Claire would like to know if you could please explain where horse trailers park in relation to the stalls.
That is another one that we will probably deal with in September webinar, but the long-term trailer parking is far, far away from the barns. So if you are planning on keeping your horse stabled at the horse park during the makeover, plan on move-in day, pulling your trailer up, dropping everything off, and not seeing your trailer until the end of the week. Unless you get a golf cart and you want to make that drive back and forth, but it is a hike for sure. And it's not something that you want to be keeping stuff in your trailer that you're going to need to go get every day.
That's it for now.
That's it. All right. I'll give you guys just another minute if anyone has any other questions they'd like to get in. And if not, we will wrap this up. So I'll just give you guys one more minute. Yeah, anyone has any last minute questions? And again, any questions that might come up, you can email me, secretary@vrrp.org. We're here roughly 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and we're happy to answer your questions. Email is always our preferred method of communication, and sometimes we do work from home. So, is that it so far?
That's it. Oh, wait.
We have another one in Zoom too.
Oh, you're welcome. Jess would like to know, do we need to have a tack stall or can we keep tack in front of the stalls?
I would not recommend keeping tack in front of your stalls.
Unless someone's posted there all day long.
Yeah, unless you plan on having someone posted there all day long, I would recommend getting a tack stall. That you can lock up and you can safely store your tack away. There's no rules against it, but I would not recommend it.
A lot of thank yous to Rayna. Right?
Well, thank you, everybody. I think we will call it a night, and hopefully you guys will join the August 22nd webinar, prepping your horse for the arrival exam and horse management throughout the week. Super important. So attendance to that one is appreciated, and thank you all, and I will see you in my inbox. Good night, everyone.